unmuted you.
You caught me eating.
I know. Oh, I almost forgot to get on. It was like 5:30. I usually am on at 5:15 because April comes on early. But here comes, I think it's Linda. Don't let me interrupt.
It's good to try to get in there early so that you're not, you know.
Yeah.
I agree. I was just trying to get everything set up on the screen so I can toggle back and forth without too much trouble.
Yeah, I'm getting all my papers spread around, and I'm hopeful I can stay at in my office because of my new extender.
Oh, where did you plug it in?
It's in the hallway.
Okay.
It's on an extension cord between the elevator and my office.
Okay.
Because when I did it at the outlet next to the elevator, it was too far away from the terminal.
The actual, yeah.
Well, you know,
what?
Linda's not coming in.
Oh, do I need her to do, hold on, participants, let me see. Oh.
I think I'm still the host. You want me to
don't make me the host yet. My screen's not acting right.
Yeah, I'll let everybody in.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, I see Leslie coming in.
Les came in okay, but Linda's still not.
Hi, Leslie.
Hi, Les.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear you now.
Good. Thank you. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
It's been a better day than yesterday. How about that?
Okay, hey, you know, that can be an achievement some days.
10 degrees cooler.
That helps.
Yeah.
A lot. Hey, April.
Hey, how are you doing? What a beautiful day today.
Becky, I'm going to leave the meeting and come back in because my screen's doing something funny. Okay.
All right. And I've got to call Linda. She's not able to join. I don't know what the problem is.
Oh, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Hi, April.
You're out on your deck, April, yeah?
I'm out on the porch, yes. I've got the fan going. I got the dog over here.
Is the fan for the mosquitoes?
No mosquitoes. I'm on a porch.
Oh, inside.
Inside a Nancy Matthews built porch. The best thing we ever got.
The screened-in porches are something I dream of.
Hey,
yeah.
I see you're trying to join, but I can't get you into the meeting.
Hello, Melissa. Hello, Rita. You're muted.
Yeah, you went all the way out. And I tried to, because I saw you come in, and I tried to get you in like 3 or 4 times, and it kept saying joining, but it wasn't joining.
Melissa, you have a very expressive face.
Oh, I'm trying to figure something out.
Okay. Okay, I'll keep
Yeah, the top of my screen has got this white box.
Bye.
I normally have for speaker view and stuff is in the tiny box, and I can't do anything with it.
Oh, that's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
The tiny box, is that like a tiny house?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I had a thought about that. Funny, it's a little funny this weekend. I saw someone in an RV, and I'm like, you know, people who've been RVing have been living in tiny houses for like decades.
Exactly.
And now it's a new thing. All right.
That is funny.
Once upon a time, I lived in Scotland, and I lived in those days in that country, they were called caravans.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they were like Airstreams. I mean, they were tiny.
Well, this particular RV that I saw, I would say was not considered tiny. I mean, I'm pretty sure the kitchen was bigger than mine. But I was just like, wait a minute, people have been doing this for decades. This is nothing new.
Nope.
You know? All right, Becky, I don't know what's going on here.
What happened at your end?
I don't have the upper 12th of my screen. And it won't let me do anything to it.
You need to restart. maybe?
There's Rita.
Hi, Rita.
Rita, I didn't see that I let you in. How'd you get here? Okay, people are disappearing.
Melissa went away.
Okay, technical difficulties, it must be.
And Rita's on mute, I think.
Yep.
Oh, I think she just unmuted. Oh, it's a mute battle. I gotta stop.
Aye.
Are you in? Rita, can you hear yet?
Oh, no. Okay. Can you not hear Rita?
Hi, Rita. She's in a different location. We can't hear you, Rita.
No. That's better.
All right, I'm sorry, everybody. We have multiple malfunctions tonight. And I'm not one of them for a change.
No, it's a
But just
Mercury.
wait, I know I will be.
Is Mercury in retrograde?
Becky, because of what I can't see at the top of my screen, make sure you and I stay co-host because I can't see who's in the waiting room.
Okay. I'm gonna make you co-host.
Okay.
Oops, I almost made Michael co-host.
You don't want to do that.
Okay, make co-host.
All right.
There you go. And we got Paul is in and Dan is in. Dan, are you going to practice being visible? I guess you should first practice being unmuted.
I practiced the unmuted part. I'll be visible during the Q&A.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Shall we call, are we ready, April and Rita? Are we ready to start the meeting?
Yes.
Okay. So, oh, you're muted, Rita.
I can't hear you.
Can't hear you. And I'm horrible at reading lips.
Rita, do you have somebody to help you with?
Rita, on the lower left is a thing that has the audio button, and there's a little caret. And if you click on the caret, it'll pick what audio options there are. You probably just want to do another one.
Huh.
Hang on, I'll share my screen, Rita, so you can see it.
I don't see it. I am a robot.
Oh, now I'm stuck in something.
You can see your
Okay,
screen
I'm
now.
unsharing my screen.
Hi, Linda.
Okay.
Well, we can't hear Rita.
Listen, if you share your screen, go into
Twice.
Chrome and you
And
should be able to see Zoom.
we're hoping that you can figure out a way to get here. Oh, wait, you're here.
Whoa.
Right here, Rita, see this little caret down at the bottom? Can you see that? I can't see Rita. Hold on, I gotta find her. Rita, can you see down here at the bottom
Yeah.
that pops up?
It looks like you're here, but you're invisible.
No.
Can you turn your video on?
Hang on 1 second. There's more than one way to.
Oh, there's somebody called meeting host in the meeting.
Yeah, Rita, when you hover on the bottom, do you see the audio option?
Oh, it's
And do you see the little caret?
maybe.
Is there more than one option?
Yeah.
Now you're muted.
Hang
Well,
on.
people are coming in without my doing anything too. It's very strange.
Is the moon full?
Did you restart your computer? Hi. Linda says she's on her way.
Okay.
Look,
We just
I
have
just
to.
sent it to myself. So
Is
let's see if I can
it
now-
says, what does it say?
Yeah,
You are,
Unmuted.
yeah. But Rita, you might be unmuted, but it might be using the wrong audio feature. Like if you sometimes use a microphone, you might not be using the one on the computer.
no.
I'm going to share the screen one more time. Hold on. I took a picture of it with my cell phone. Here. All right. Do you see this screen here? My thing I'm waving? No?
Yeah.
Okay. So right
Select-
in here is what Mike's telling you to do. Down by mute, you have this little caret to click, and then it gives you options to use the microphone with the computer and then some other options. So see if the microphone or something else is clicked. Do you see that? Man. Did you try it, Rita? Can we hear you?
Rita, I would suggest you call in on a phone. Call in on your cell phone. If you go to the calendar, you should have the number for, or I can read you the number for the cell phone. It's on the agenda. The cell phone number is 1-646-558-8656.
Another idea would be to restart.
Yeah, that's a good point. When in doubt, restart.
I think she's doing the password.
Oh, I didn't give her the password.
No, it's
You
on the
found
agenda.
it.
Oh, good.
47BJM4.
That's not the phone password.
Oh, it's a different one?
Yeah, it's 644031.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, April.
Oh my goodness. She's here
Good to
and
see
Kate,
you.
Pardon?
Kate is coming.
Oh, this must be so frustrating.
So Linda did, hi Kate. Could you give us your last name for the minutes, please?
Sure. Kate McConnell.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So Rita's still trying
Yeah,
to get
she's
in.
there. I see her. Rita, is that you that we can hear? Okay, hang on one second. I'm going to put you on here. You change your name. Hold on one second.
And
Rita's the 575.
Yep. I'm going to unmute you. Can you hear us?
Okay.
there you are.
Yes,
Oh,
I can. I'm not
Okay.
sure what's wrong. I just had another Zoom meeting and everything was fine with this laptop. So
Suzanne, you're on twice. Oh, there you are. Okay. She's on once.
I'm getting confused.
Rita, what you will want to do is you're going to want to turn your speaker off to your, yep.
We are
Got it.
learning how to
Thank
deal
you.
with this, aren't we?
We are. It's a trip.
It is a trip.
Okay. Shall we call ourselves to order now that we're all mostly here?
sure.
Okay. All right. And is there any additions to the agenda or reordering of anything on here?
No.
Becky?
I think we're good to go. The only thing is I don't have an update from the school. They have not yet made decisions.
Okay, so shall we skip over that for now, or?
Yeah, we could pass over that, and I will continue to call and I'll update you when I hear from them.
Okay.
During the week.
All right. And is anyone here for, we do have a bit of a time crunch for the police chief. He's got to leave at 6. Would anyone have public comment that's really quick?
Yes,
Okay, go ahead, Michael, really quick.
I've got an apology, a thank you, and a point. So,
Okay, 3 minutes, 3 seconds, go ahead.
so my apologies for the heated email exchange yesterday to Dan and Select Board. So sorry about that. A thank you to Becky for telling me to take a breath. I appreciate that. And I think the point is, although there's a subsequent conversation about the forum with the police chief, my sense was that was more focused on, you know, racial justice issues and things along those lines. And I still think that the Select Board should be engaged with the police department around policies in terms of mask wearing. And just looking at 97A, there is a discussion that I think statutorily can happen between the police department, even as a strong chief, and the Select Board. And most importantly, just putting stuff on the website, because I think, you know, to Becky's point, the fact that I don't know what the policy is, there's no place to find the policy. So that's a very easy first step. But I think it's something that you guys should, I'd be happy, when I get back to town, I'll talk to Dan, but I think it's a role for the Select Board. So that's short and sweet.
Okay, anybody else for public comment? Susan, go ahead, real quick.
Hi, okay. I was at the last board meeting and I so appreciate the effort of developing a good communication. The thing that bothered me was I couldn't see Dan's face. I have no idea what this man looks like. And Zoom meetings are powerful meetings when we can see each other. So if you could please make a strong point that it's really important for us to see who he is.
Thank you, Susan. Okay, so now that we're, thank you for those 2 comments. We're going to move right along to the public police forum. Dan, would you like to lead us on your thoughts? Or I know you and Becky had talked a little bit. Fill us in.
So,
what are your thoughts for your public police forum?
So Becky and I have had some conversations back and forth in regards to the public forum and how it's going to work. I think we have a pretty good outline as to how it's going to flow. And obviously we'll be talking to Paul kind of in regards to how that's going to work and the best way to make it be productive. So I'm pretty happy with what Becky and I have kind of come to as far as that goes. I don't know, Becky, if you have anything else that you want to add? I think we talked about questions beforehand, or
yeah. And I can I'd like to go over the general outline that we've been talking about. I think to Michael's point that the forums would be about social justice, I think what we're proposing is a little different. I think that as an introduction to the police department, given it's important for us to lay groundwork on who the police department is. We'll start with some background on the last a quick summary of the last 30 years, how staffing has developed from an all part-time police department to 3 full-time people with some part-timers, and also mentioning how having had a very difficult stretch with early 30 years ago with a police department that went rogue. The Select Board has been over the years, very conscious of the importance of how we hire for a police chief, which have made, decision-making has been done very critically. And I think it has helped shape our current police department. The tenure of Tom Harding was a very solid one, where he turned around a lot of the perceptions. There had been a lot of distrust in town, that Tom worked diligently over 13 years to regain. I think Dan is working in those footsteps to help regain the public confidence and trust. I just want to touch on the mask thing for a second. The police department visibility is higher now than it ever has been at any point in history. You know, people are responding to the police that they probably were, you know, the same police officers were probably invisible to them 6 months or a year ago. But everything they do is being noted. Mask wearing is a situational thing for the police department, and sometimes people are unaware that they might be in the middle of dealing with a victim or a case, and not every time they are called on it is it appropriate for them to be wearing masks. But it's hard for the public to have any clue what their actual situation is, so they keep getting caught in different situations. Overall, Dan, if you want to just take a second to speak to it, but I know Dan encourages mask wearing. Everyone in the department wears masks in town hall and in other places when they, you know, when they aren't caught by something that's extremely unpredictable. And they are, you know, work to keep our town safe, even with mask wearing. And I know when people hear that they haven't worn a mask, you know, at one moment in the day, they don't have the full picture. And I just wanted to help share that they do have the goal of wearing masks appropriately. Dan, is that in line?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that over the past few weeks, we've definitely heard some things back and forth about this. Some through legitimate channels such as email with Michael, which is very good because that's the way to get in touch with me. You know, we've also had some things that we've seen online, which isn't the appropriate way to bring those to light. And I just want that to be clear, because if there is an issue, whether it be mask wearing or anything else, we want to make sure that those issues are directed to the right place, which is my email or the office phone. My email is probably the best place to reach me outside of office hours. I do try to respond to those emails as quick as I can. You know, I echo what Becky's saying. I think that, you know, there is a lot of situations, and situations can arise whereas mask wearing would be detrimental to the situation occurring at that time. So it's hard to kind of put a blanket policy out there to wear your mask all the time when there may be a situation where it's just not possible.
I wonder if it would help to have a letter from the police chief to the town on town announce, sort of outlining this, you know, in some way to just, you know, and maybe not just the police, maybe for, like, I don't know, we're not getting complaints about the highway department or any, this is
And
just.
they wear masks the least.
Yeah, that's true, they do.
There's only 3 of them, and they're always in opposite places.
Can I say one quick thing briefly, Melissa?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, and I appreciate, you know, Dan and Becky, what you're saying, and I get that it's situational. And I never thought it should be all the time. I think one of the things for me that's really important is that the police have a special role because they are visible and they are in enforcement, that modeling actually matters. You know, and if we look nationally, it's, you know, people in leadership who, if they're embracing mask wearing, they're modeling it, and then people look to those people. And so my sense is a communication from, as April is suggesting, is a good thing. It's mostly just knowing that people are looking for guidance by action. And the more people see police in particular wearing masks, it's sort of like, oh, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Just like you wouldn't want the inverse of, you know, crime or speeding or whatever. So I don't want to take up time, but I think the modeling thing for me is, I think, just important as a balance to practicality.
Thank you, Michael. Is there any?
Go back to the outline. The
Yep.
cutoff is 6 o'clock tonight. So
Yep, go ahead.
if anybody doesn't mind.
Go ahead.
So if we start off the forum, giving, the overall background and a quick picture of the last 30 years, then discuss the authority that exists, what a strong chief means, and what the role of the select board is. We can have definitions and conversation about that. Then talk about policy development and adoption. Currently, there's this massive state, it was originally a state document. There's a 700-page manual about policy that addresses most everything that the town does. Examples of updates to the policy. The policy was approved by the select board, as all policies in town. An example of police policies adopted recently are the ride-along policy and the camera, body camera policy that was adopted in the fall of 2018. So there would be a discussion of different policies in the manual. The select board, the different, I'm not sure, I don't think Rita has a copy of the current manual, but we're trying to get that out to you. It's I need to hand it off personally because it's, I couldn't email, it was too big, I think. But if we can condense it and zip it, we'll get it to you, Rita.
Okay.
Follow that up with the regular activities of our police department, where they can outline a typical day, what things they touch upon. They go to medical calls. There's traffic violations, speeding, parking control, traffic control, well-being checks, patrolling the lake, roadside assistance, domestic violence, crime, theft, assault, fraud, vandalism, graffiti. It's a small town, but they still manage to get all kinds of things you wouldn't imagine.
Dogs.
Abuse of drugs and alcohol, firearms, and the permitting they do, just to have a chance to review activities. And then finally, community policing and what it is. Dan will give a good description and examples of community policing and the purpose of focusing on community policing to build ties within the community through different events that are held and the approach our officers have in communicating with the public. So that would be the outline of what would be presented, taking, and I think we're asking for questions ahead of time. And then if time allowing, Paul would help monitor questions coming out of the chat forum.
I'm imagining also that this would be no more than 2 hours, because I think if it needs to be bounded, and framed that this is a 2-hour meeting, or it could just go on and on.
Yep. And don't forget, I think it's probably, and Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of a start of a conversation to maybe go into those other things like Michael was talking about, but we have to introduce our police department first, right?
Yes, I think, it is just the beginning. I think that this is just a starting point. So I'm not, certainly not opposed to this, becoming, a couple of meetings at the very least, because we can, I could talk about police use of force for 2 hours, without a doubt. And we could dive into that as far as anybody would like. But I think to get a good platform and a good kind of foundation as to what we're going to be talking about either in the future, or just get a few things out of the way and start with maybe some pre-submitted questions is going to be important as well.
Okay.
So Paul, you signed on for this.
Well, it was interesting. I said yes to this, and then I sat down to read the paper. And I don't know if any of you saw Saturday's, the paper in Saturday, the article in Saturday's paper about the East Hampton forum that they just had, which was a very interesting article. So that generated a few questions in my mind as a result. So if I could address those now, is this a good time to do that?
I think so.
Okay, so questions ahead of time, I just want to understand exactly what that means. Last time when I facilitated that discussion with the Finance Committee, we used a chat function, but that was not ahead of time. That was like, you know, real time as the meeting was happening. Is that what you had in mind, Becky? Or literally, are we talking about having questions submitted before the Zoom session starts?
I'm thinking B. I think what we were talking about is letting people know about the forum, and in that announcement, giving them an email address where they could send their questions. And part of the concern that was raised last time was some people might have questions that they don't want to be matched up with. Not that they're anonymous, you would have their name, but they would, just to make people feel more comfortable that it's not, you know, their name's not on the screen when the question is asked, which would be true using the chat function, I think.
Right, yeah, that, you know, one thing that in hindsight with the chat function, I realized that, you know, some people remained anonymous when they submitted their questions, and I don't think that works well. It allows them to basically say anything they want. And, you know, I got some fairly critical comments behind that anonymity. I think in this article about the East Hampton situation, the mayor there indicated that anyone who wants to ask a question or speak at a public meeting needs to identify themselves. If someone just wants to attend, there's no need, obviously. So yeah, I agree that if anyone's going to submit a question, I think at least I need to know that, you know, it's a real person and who that person is, even if I don't share that information.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Okay, good.
Mike.
Yeah, I was just gonna chime in, just two things on what Paul was talking about. My gut is that you need some kind of safety valve for real-time questions, and, you know, because otherwise people are going to feel closed down if they think of something and you say, oh no, you didn't submit it. So that's just, I think it's reasonable to ask people, but if you don't create that space and some flexibility, people feel closed down. So I think that's just my caution. The thing that I got from the East Hampton one, which speaks to Susan's point, was I think there were 13 police officers who were on the Zoom call who were muted, and it only said East Hampton PD, but there was no images, and that created a lot of ill will. So I think that's also a caution.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Yeah,
Paul, you had.
yeah, that was actually one of my questions for Dan is, you know, whether other police department members would be present, and if so, will they be identified? Will we see images of them?
I don't know. I haven't really, they know about this happening. I haven't reached out to them to see if they want to be involved. If they were to be involved, I think that, I think we should keep it to one person answering the questions. Or, I mean, I guess, you know, obviously there'd be people asking questions that may, you know, answer a question that I may have, but as far as from the police department, I think I'd be the one answering the questions. So I don't know if they want to be involved yet to answer that question.
Dan, would you feel comfortable just having everyone on the police force, everybody just introduce themselves? So that there are faces to, you know, not necessarily have to participate in the entire meeting, but just as part of the introduction? I mean, it's not thousands of people.
Right. No, I'm certainly not opposed to that. I mean, I plan on having this in the office, so I think that that's something that certainly could happen.
Great.
Okay, and I think the last thing that I wanted to ask, I know we're pushing our time limit here, is are there any boundaries for the questions that will be acceptable?
So from my point of view, no. And I use that, so there's a caveat to that. I say no, but, you know, our goal here, I think, is to be productive and to have a productive dialogue. So, you know, if it becomes a question that may, you know, in any way not be a productive one. I think that those are questions that may come up. I mean, I'm going to do my best to answer every question that comes about, but I'm just hoping that all the questions are, you know, of good, I guess, of goodwill, not not something that may, you know, automatically be designed in order to cause some sort of argument that would be non-productive. So,
Yeah.
So
Well,
assuming we have the questions in advance, then they could be reviewed by the chief and Paul, correct?
yeah, I mean,
Because we're not going to be.
Yeah, I don't want to. The thing is, I certainly do not want to silence anybody's question. I guess I would take any questions. I guess it's where it goes. That would be my biggest concern. So where the question goes as far as towards a productive dialogue and towards possibly fixing a problem or answering a question about what a problem may be, or if there is a problem, that type of thing. So I don't want to mute anybody as far as the questions asked.
Do you think
But the
that
questions are going to be in writing. They're not going to be, it's not going to be a live questioning. So the questions are going to be relayed by you, Paul, correct? So they're submitted to you, and then you're going to be relaying them like we did with Finance Committee. Is that correct? Is that what we were talking about?
I don't really know. I think it'd be interesting to hear from the select board, you know, to see, or Becky, to see what you had in mind.
I think when I caught through the timeline, as I was writing things down, was if time allowed, there could be some in real time questions at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well,
I
maybe
think I caught that right.
maybe we should designate, you know, we're going to take these questions and there'll be half an hour for, or 20, whatever at the end.
Yeah, and then open it up.
And that there can be subsequent follow-up meetings. This isn't the only meeting necessarily.
So what is the actual format of this Zoom session? I mean, is it going to be just an open Zoom like we're doing now, where anyone has a chance to raise their hand and ask a question, or will there be a chat function where I would be able to receive written questions off screen?
I think the chat will be available. It'll be an open forum like this. We're not going to be using the webinar format.
Mm-hmm.
So that way you'll have whatever questions come to you ahead. And then if we get through those, then open it up to questions at the time of the event. And that'll be through
The chat. Right, and then the same way you did, Paul, with the Finance Committee at that point, or the
Yeah, except that was a webinar format. Like right now, I don't see a chat option on the bottom of my screen.
If you were a co-host, you would.
You will for that meeting. It's not on this meeting. Unfortunately, I should have kept it on. But we can do a test run set up the way it will be for that night. If you're agreeable to that, Paul and Dan.
Yeah, that's fine with me. So everyone that's participating would have the chat option?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's fine.
Okay.
And then the one asking the questions would be you, Paul.
Right.
For format purposes.
Okay, and then just
So
in terms of,
go ahead, Paul.
no, Rita, you're on delay, so you go.
Okay. So I was just going to ask what the timing is then. How long is the chief speaking? How long are we allocating for submitted questions? And then how long are we allocating for live questioning? If we're saying this is 2 hours, right?
And I would argue that what we announce for the public is an hour and a half. But be willing to go to the 2 hours, because 2 hours will probably go to 2.5. So if we have the first, say 15 minutes, there'll be a presentation between myself. I'll just give a brief history one, and then Dan will give his, well, together we'll do a presentation, probably not more than 15 minutes.
I think, Becky, given what you listed, you probably should leave a half an hour for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is the timing for receiving, I mean, getting word out and then receiving questions, reviewing questions? I mean, is that all going to be by next Monday?
That's the plan.
So my thought on that is probably an announcement within the next day or so with questions by 5 p.m. on Thursday-ish, Friday, noontime, something like that.
What works
For
best
the
for you?
weekend, I suppose.
I'm available. I just get back from vacation, so I'm not going anywhere for a little bit.
Oh, good.
So maybe by 8 o'clock on Monday morning, and that gives you time to run through them before the, you know.
That's fine.
Okay, so that time, have the questions in by 8 a.m. on Monday?
Yeah, because you'll have a few stragglers that come in, but it gives you guys
Yeah.
to look them over and, you know, kind of prepare your thoughts for those questions that have been submitted anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
And so would it then be an hour allotted for the written submitted questions and maybe
In real
half
time.
an hour for spontaneous questions? I know that's 2.5.
I think
but that's-
we were talking about an hour and a half. So
Right.
if it's an hour and a half and the first part is half an hour, then we leave 40 minutes for written questions. And if we don't use up all the 40 minutes, then we'll have live questions.
I think Les has been trying to speak.
Oh, sorry, Leslie, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thanks. Being a veteran of an infinite number of meetings over my professional career in town meetings, you know, the basic rule of thumb is people can keep their attention for an hour and a half.
Mhm.
And if you need to go a little bit beyond that for whatever reason, fine. But just make it clear that this is the first meeting of this sort. And
Mhm.
I think that an hour and a half or even 2 hours is not going to be enough to cover the ground where people have interest. So I think it's really important right up front to be clear, okay, hour and a half, but also be clear there's going to be a follow-up meeting, and the chief is more than happy to do that.
Dan, I know you had to go. Do you want to scoot out at this point? We can kind of end the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, I might be able to jump back in if that's possible. I don't know how long this appointment is going to take. So I might be able to scoot back in, but I don't know how long the meeting's going to last. So.
Okay, well, go do that. That sounds important. So, and then Becky, if we have anything else here, we follow up. You'll follow up with Dan?
Yep.
If we, okay.
And Paul.
And Paul, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Dan.
Well, thank you, everybody. Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.
And I also want to put out there separate from this, I don't see this as the only response for the town, for the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, I do strongly believe in social justice, and I would love us to be able to come up with, you know, a future plan, you know, with a facilitator who could help us, you know, just sort of a brainstorming of what's going to help. Why is this community just so white? And how can we make this a more welcome, and other questions. But I see this as really important, but this is not, I don't see this as the only
Conversation.
message or event. I mean, I think this is a piece of it. And I don't have sketched out in my head what it would look like, but you know, there's ideas like, you know, a reading group of literature that's related to, you know, our history of racism in this country is another piece. But, you know, so I'd like to see more than this. This is the beginning.
Adding to that, April, kind of a different point slightly, is that having the police department do this, maybe we think of the other departments to do it too. Not just because it's you know, the racial piece that we're trying to, or BLM that we're trying to focus on, but also just in general, so that people can understand what the different departments in town do. You know, so kind of a separate thing, but
I like that.
because we're starting the conversation. Yep. So, you know.
Here is your highway department.
Yeah, right, exactly, because, you know, we see what they do, but, you know, why not introduce them?
No, it's true.
The same way?
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael?
Just one logistical thing I'd suggest is recording this and then posting it online. Because part of the problem is if you can't make it, you don't know, like, you know, the fact that I couldn't go to the web page for the police and find out information, it's the same kind of stuff. If you hear that it happened a day late, if it's not recorded, you'll never get the substance.
Yep, that's a good suggestion.
That's a good point too.
Yeah, and we did record the finance presentation and posted that online, which was a similar, more public event, and that worked well. So people that weren't able to attend were able to listen and watch. So we are planning to do that. And just as we are recording this meeting right now.
Okay. Do we feel like we've, oh, go ahead, Paul.
So yeah, just one last thing. I had asked earlier what the boundaries are for this, for the questions, because I agree with April that, you know, this could go in many different directions and hopefully it will expand in different ways in the future. But, you know, one of those directions that's on a lot of people's mind is budgeting for police department. So, you know, that could be a whole separate meeting in itself. And, you know, if that's not something that we want to address at this meeting, then maybe it would be good to put that word out, you know, right at the beginning, you know, maybe with the information that additional meetings may be held in the future on related topics. But, you know, I'd hate to see this kind of, you know, get into real controversial topics like we should be slashing the police department budget in town and moving the money elsewhere. You know, we could easily suck up a whole bunch of time doing that and kind of defeats the purpose of what I believe this first meeting is really meant to be.
I think it's a good, actually, as the questions pop up, that maybe it's an idea of where those other next conversations go, right? So, yeah, if you kind of stick with the topic, the outline topic, and then let Dan answer questions that do pop up, and then just guide it towards, well, that might be something for another topic of how this, you know, next conversation or something, and you know, kind of as we're going through this one, plan the next one, I guess.
A lot of this is going to.
Somebody has to be able to say that we're not doing this. This is not going to be a comprehensive examination of everything related to the police, and therefore there will be follow-up. But that, you know, as questions arise, and that has to be addressed that evening.
And I think you do that at the front too, because so that people do know that just right. You know,
I think this is going to help us have a barometer for how the town is feeling. You know, that I'm sure there's a lot of opinions I have not heard. And so I think that's another real important function of the meeting.
I'm interested in you bringing it up, Paul. I guess I was lulled into a sense that that was not a question in our community because it was not even an item that was selected off the town meeting budget. None of the police lines were checked off. The only question was about the capital item. I dare say the radar gun. But nothing else was questioned by almost 200 people at a public meeting. And in my mind, that would have been the place to raise the concern. But if you're sitting there at the meeting and have reviewed the budget, you already know that how small the department really is. So I've received one letter came in, one email has come to the select board about police budgeting, and it came today. And it was saying that, you know, please don't slash our police department. We know they're small to begin with. So it might be a burning question for people, but
I think at the time of our town meeting, there was talk starting nationally, but since places have started to defund their police departments in some ways. So I think it was the start of a conversation, but now you're seeing communities actually doing it. So it could work its way, and it may not, right? You may be very correct. And our budget is relatively small compared to those larger communities that have decided to fund part of their budgets. So I think that the conversation nationally has changed slightly on that from where we were when we had a town meeting. Not that it's going to dominate, I don't think, but you know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be a big issue, but I just, as kind of the moderator for this, I don't want to be in the position of ignoring someone's question, you know, that comes through on a chat function, because that's what happened last time, you know, with the FinCom meeting. You know, people kept writing to me saying, "Why aren't you asking my question? You know, you're stifling my question, me." So I don't want to be put in that position again. And so if we've kind of made the statement beforehand, then I've got, you know, good justification for not asking those questions if they come in.
And you can reiterate it too when you're reading some of those questions, Paul, before you start, just to say, you know, we may not get to all these at this point, but they're great questions for future conversations and, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Good.
So we may, I'm sorry.
I saw Michael's hand and I see Leslie's hand.
Yeah, mine's just a quick thing. You know, in the vein of having subsequent meetings around the police funding, I mean, the challenge nationally was that it was coming up just around June 30th. And anyone who knows how budgeting works realized it was, you know, beyond 11th hour. So it might be interesting to just think about how do you have a constructive conversation building next year's budget? So engaging the police and FinCom and the select board and sort of have a values and a budgeting conversation.
Good point. Go ahead.
And I would echo what Michael just said. And I think because the question about the police budget did not come up at town meeting, certainly does not mean that there aren't concerns about the police budget in the town.
And are you speaking about public safety in total, or the police singled out from the fire department?
The police singled out from the fire department at this point in time.
Okay. Do we feel like we've hammered this topic out enough for the forum to go forward? Becky, go ahead.
What I wasn't clear on is Paul was suggesting that if we have a statement at the beginning of the meeting about, you know, maybe slashing the budget, topic won't be handled tonight. We have the select.
I wouldn't directly say that necessarily.
I wouldn't either.
Becky, I wasn't talking about slashing the police budget. I was just, you know, raising. Oh,
no, I wasn't referring to what you were saying.
Okay, thank you.
I was just going back to, I'm unclear if the select board has supported helping to give Paul clearer guidance in the conversation.
So I don't think we'd say what's off the table from the start, only that if questions are asked if questions may be asked that we won't address tonight for whatever reason, that we're planning on having further conversations, I wouldn't take anything right off the table as a topic off the table. Dan said he'd answer any questions that popped up.
Okay, and Paul, do you need more than that?
Well, I'm assuming that when the announcement goes out about this, there'll be some explanation of the purpose of the meeting. So I think, you know, in that statement, you can basically say what the intent is, and you may even say that, and, you know, if desired or needed, future meetings, you know, to follow up on other related topics might be possible. You know, so keep it general, like Melissa says, but still have some kind of fairly clear statement of what the purpose of this meeting is. It's mainly to get to know your police department, right?
Right.
So
Right.
to
start the dialogue.
analyzing the budget.
Right.
Right.
Thank you.
Becky, let me know if you want some help with any of that wording.
I will be calling.
Okay.
And Paul, I'm going to run it by you before I put it out, if that's okay.
You're
He
muted.
says that's okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yes, I read his lips for that one.
So tentatively, I'll just plan to be in touch with you, Becky, and Dan sometime next Monday to review the questions before Tuesday's event.
Okay. And Paul, can I use your moderator email in the announcement to have them email you there?
Is that the best way to do it? That's fine with me.
I think it,
Think so.
Yeah, it might be. It might be. Yeah, I think it.
Yeah.
As long as you're willing to accept the emails, Paul.
Sure.
I think Les is trying to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry, Leslie. Go ahead.
No, I was just adjusting my seat.
Okay, sorry.
My bum gets a little tired after a while.
I understand.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
All right,
Okay.
thank you
Yeah,
for
I look
everybody.
forward to this.
Appreciate
Good night.
it.
Good night.
Bye.
Have a good vacation.
Good night, Kate.
Good night, Kate. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. See, we are now on to running a team bit behind. We are now on to forming an open space committee to work with FERCog.
Okay, background information.
Please.
We have currently an open space plan that took about 8 years to write. And it is now 5 years old and it's supposedly expiring. So we need to update it. I have, I believe it was Elaine Paleo during her term on select board last winter who spoke with FERCog about potentially getting grant support to do that. We have received about $6,000 of grant money to get started on the project. It will probably in the end cost closer to $20,000, but we're uncertain because of the extreme amount of work that was put into the first one might offset what normally needs to be done. So we have an opportunity to do this. The money will expire in December. So there's a little bit of urgency about it. And the one piece of very wonderful news is I have one person I spoke with who is very interested in working on it, and her name is Penny Jacques.
Perfect.
So if we can collectively get some folks that worked on it the last time, or at least one person there, and find some other people that would like to jump in on this round, the committee could start meeting as soon as appointments were made and scheduling was done with FERCog. So I'm not sure if you want to entertain appointing Penny Jacques now.
I think that's a good idea to get it rolling.
Yeah.
Rita, April, do you have thoughts?
Yes, I think
That sounds good.
and I will move to appoint Penny Jacques as the first new member of our open space planning committee.
And maybe Linda can help us. I think there's still somebody on the appointment list.
Yes, Veronica Richter is
I
still
was
on the
wondering,
list.
okay.
Never resigned, so she's still there.
Oh, well.
And Janice Stone, has anybody talked to Janice?
Janice Stone was on it.
Yes.
She will not
As was-
be working on it, from my understanding. Penny talked to her and tried to persuade her and twist her arm, and she said,
Yeah.
Janice said,
She wouldn't do it.
no. So,
All right. Do I hear a second for April's motion?
Second,
Okay. All in favor?
Stein,
Farrell,
aye.
I.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Good.
All right.
okay,
Moving.
now we have four members.
Yeah.
A really good start.
Yes.
Um,
Right along to discuss the timeline or just discuss reopening town hall.
I just want to, we're going to keep this on the agenda moving into the fall. At this point, to review the select board's policy is we're continuing on with Zoom meetings, And town hall is closed to the public with all the staff taking outdoor meetings at this point in time. Outdoor appointments, not meetings, outdoor appointments. We had one issue that came up this last 2 weeks. The Historic Commission requested that they hold their meeting outside, and after having a conversation with the town clerk and the Board of Health, with Kat Hilton from the Board of Health, we recommit, we just asserted that our current standing policy remains Zoom meetings only. The concern is with older members on some of these committees, especially the committee that wanted to meet. We have concerns that we can't provide a secure meeting space for them outside. People reference annual town meeting as a reason why it should be allowed, but I think that, as you all know, the organization and work that went into the annual town meeting to make it safe was extraordinary. There were about 15 people actively involved in making it work, and at this point in time, I continue to feel that our citizens are best off if we hold to the Zoom meetings. But these issues can change from week to week.
I don't know if some people don't have access to the internet. It's possible. Do we have a Zoom room that people who can't access?
April, as Rita's doing now, anyone can call in by phone.
Yep.
It does allow
it has to be a cell phone.
The phone.
Doesn't have to be a cell phone. It can be.
No, you can do it from a landline.
Okay.
So it works really much like a old-fashioned conference room phone. Call in this number and you'd enter a PIN and magically read.
Okay.
And so that's what, so I did double check.
All the way from Minneapolis.
Woo! I did confirm that the 2 people that they were concerned about being able to attend, if we held a remote meeting, both of those parties did attend the meeting and the meeting was productive. So they did have 100% attendance in the end. And the new town clerk, Grace, did a beautiful job of explaining to the chair and then being on the meeting for the first half hour, 45 minutes, providing support and reassurance to the group who hadn't done a Zoom meeting before. So I think they're good to go into the fall, and when it gets colder, they won't have an issue with remote meetings if we're still doing them. So I think it was a good experience all around.
It sounds like Grace did a great job.
She did. Yep.
Good. So are the feelings right now anyway with our check-in here to keep town hall the same as it's been for now, and since the outside exchanges of business are working out okay, Becky, you think those are working out fine?
Yeah, and Grace, Grace also gives support for continuing with the remote meetings at this point. I think there's one situation I am aware of is the Conservation Commission they took a vote that if they have, they are to hold the NRAD hearings in the future. They're not ready to do that because the consultant work is not been completed. But if they do, they voted that they would not hold them remotely. But
Linda has a comment.
This is what I was told by Penny. And so the question was, at some point, either they may change their vote to hold it remotely, which is very possible, or we'll have to deal with that issue. And I told Penny to make sure to keep me in the loop of how that's progressing. Okay. Linda, do you want to comment?
Yes, I can just say that Penny and I talked about that topic today, and the commission will talk it over during their meeting this Thursday. because of course, when they made that vote, whoever anticipated we would be where we are now. And, you know, when they made that vote, they were thinking, you know, this would be a short period of time, the need to be on Zoom. So you know, they will need to revisit how they're going to move forward on Zoom, recognizing that the constraints of 8 people per 1,000 square feet inside is not workable for a public hearing when you don't know how many people could possibly come. So they'll be talking about it. And as you said, they're not ready yet because the consultant work isn't finished. So, you know, yeah.
Well, definitely keep us up to date, Becky and Linda, and let us know how we can be supportive of that group.
Okay. I do want to report that Linda has been coming into town hall a couple of times a week or a few times a week. So she is, we do recognize her again now. And Leslie Bracebridge is back her regular hours in the assessor's office. So things are coming around town hall wise to a full complement.
Good.
So, yeah.
Good.
And
so,
the other news is everybody's has been healthy. So that's most important.
Big achievement. A big achievement. Everybody stayed healthy. So let's keep this on the agenda for the next time too, Becky.
Okay, will do.
Just keep revisiting, I guess.
And probably the open space committee because we need a few more members.
Yeah, add that too.
Okay, great.
All right, so we have a couple more PAFs to approve.
I will leave those in your box.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Joe, do we need to vote on them? We voted on the others as a group, but
Actually, I believe they were
in that group.
I think they were in the group you did, but then I had to get a signature from there was a typo on 2 of them. So they're typos. You have voted the people.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Yeah, just leave them in my box and I'll do it tomorrow around noonish if that's okay.
Great.
Okay.
You only need one signature? Is it just?
Yeah.
Just one.
Okay.
Or whatever time you feel. If it's too busy up there getting there close to noon, just text me and I can delay.
Okay.
Okay.
And that brings up another issue that we're still looking for another person for the personnel board.
Oh yes, we have to accept her resignation too, don't we? We haven't done that yet.
Right. Maybe you can do that tonight. You all got the email, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So school reopening we'll skip over now because no one's made decisions across the entire state yet on that one. And upcoming events for the municipal vulnerability plan and Larks Pond Road COVID.
Okay, so what we're hoping to do next Thursday is hold the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness event. It'll be a listening session. I have emailed out to the folks that were part of that group a copy of the report that has been compiled by Fuss and O'Neill for your review and input. And then next Thursday, there will be a listening session for people to share their input. It will be an open Zoom meeting like this one, except it will have the chat function to ask questions. And I think the login information is also on the flyer and the email that went out to the public. At this point, I imagine no one has had a chance to read it, so.
Not this morning.
No, I started.
No, I haven't.
So, so that's in progress. The Locks Pond Culvert event will be, the engineering firm will do a Zoom meeting on the August 6th that people can see the plans. They'll go through the plans and the timelines and what exactly will be done. in rebuilding the Locks Pond Culvert when they get to a point that, you know, when construction season, it'll probably be about a year from now, because this construction season has been, work has been delayed because of COVID on the engineering piece. So they are just about at 100%. And I will be getting information up online ahead of the event so people can look at the documents and the design. And another piece of the Locks Pond Culvert is I do need to speak with an abutter about a potential easement for filling in an area with rocks, a side of the hill that is prone to caving in. The engineers are recommending that it be filled in with large rocks. And to do that, we need an easement. So that's a technical piece that I am working on now. And hopefully with DOT, we can come to a solution with the abutter quickly.
Well, at least, you know, it feels like this is starting to get toward done. Like,
Real.
you know, it's been a conversation for so long that it feels like, wow, we're actually moving toward doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we get the final engineering design and we go out to bid, we're going to have to get serious about how we're going to fund this project. It's going to be a big one.
All right.
We'll probably have to go out to borrow.
Okay.
Okay.
It's necessary. We've been watching it for several years, so.
Yeah.
It's one of our biggies.
Yep, that and the school roof is the next one
Yep.
to tackle.
Do we need to take any votes on either two of those events or just information?
Just information, hoping you you all can attend, or at least we'll be around to observe or get the documents and read through them in case you have questions that you need answered.
Okay, so town administrator updates. Anything exciting in town, Becky?
Well, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I just thought of, and that was a distracting idea. Yes, town hall has been pretty quiet. We have people coming in. We had a huge amount of people coming in right after town meeting to get sworn in. That was exciting. The most activity in the last 2 weeks, I would have to say, was probably in my office.
Oh, no.
There was quite a bit of demolition, thanks to my nephew. And I got to help and did quite a bit myself. I've been advised to use the small sledgehammer as opposed to the largest one. But I gotta tell you, the largest one makes a bigger hole.
It does. It's fun too.
Yep. So we stopped at a point where we were uncertain why we were looking at light coming through the ceiling, the roof of the attic. And so we had to make preparation to be sure that everything didn't cave into my office. So
could that be where the moisture was coming from that caused the mold?
Well, we haven't had new moisture since.
Okay. Well, it's been open though, so you may not have seen it. You know, it could have dried. The airflow was changed. Yeah. The walls been open.
You got to come look. I'll show you where the light is, and we can analyze if that is a, because there is a leak on the other side into the kitchen. And so I think what we were seeing could have, been leaking there.
Okay.
But I've also found that if I can get the rest of the demolition done, I have at least one person willing to do the work now to finish the job. So that's good news. My finished carpentry skills are nil. So
I have a few.
Yeah, you have both, I think. But so now we're, I got that all cleaned up finally for now. but we're going to have more mess. And the plan is to make sure I'm, back in my office in a few weeks.
Okay.
Town hall, we are distributing trash bags 3:30 to 5 on Mondays, and that's working out well. We're getting, like at least 5 to 7 people every week, and they are not complaining about the limited hours. I do give out trash bags and LTCs on Saturday at the market. If people stop in, we will give them, but I didn't establish it as a regular thing. But if you hear of anybody who needs it, they can stop by then. The market is doing very well. We had 4 vendors this week. Jeff Lacey is back with his blueberries, which are very hot. He sold out twice. He ran home to pick some more and comes driving back. So that went well. The library is chugging right along without its doors being open. They are, people are picking up books all the time. I did have a conversation with her about the fact that we really want to coordinate when we do get serious about reopening town hall. We should be talking with the library at the same time, because there's a lot of similar issues that are going on. With people being subject to exposure. We've had 2 people stop by with shovels and went running out into the field, and I was quite curious why they were there. And it turned out it's part of Al Werner's work. He is helped recruit people, UMass students, to do soil testing and water testing of the test wells behind Town Hall. I think they're doing that at all 4 locations. So that's a good thing that's happening. The fire department is, doing, they did all testing today on their pressurized equipment. They had a special truck come in and show them, make sure that they're in compliance with all their equipment. We're closing out FY20. It was a little, we're still in process of doing that. It looks like we're in pretty good shape. There might be more underspent accounts than originally anticipated, but we won't know until the middle of August for sure.
Well, with all the COVID stuff, there was probably quite a few, right?
Yeah.
More underspent, yeah.
Like a lot of departments go to conferences that were all canceled, and so a few $100s here and there, and in a lot of different lines. The police department has been actively spending time at the lake. Dan was here on Sunday to support Kristen, and doing patrols and making sure the crowds are at bay. The lake is planning, the DCR is planning to open the back parking lot in 2 weeks and start charging fees. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, because that's the area we are getting a lot of complaints is about the lake and the crowding of the beach and the lack of mask wearing on the beach by people who go there. So we'll be monitoring what happens there.
Becky,
yeah.
has anybody from DCR been enforcing social distancing on the beach, or is there not? There's nobody doing that.
No, they are not. And they told Catherine and I at the beginning of the season, they put up signs. They have like 3 signs, and they won't be enforced. They said they would not be enforcing it.
They're gone by 4:30 most days. So there's nobody there from DCR.
Right.
Except
After
on
4:30.
Sunday, I think it was like later on Saturday because it was a hot on the weekend, but it'll be interesting.
And then did you all see the letter from Howard Kinder?
I did not.
Howard Kinder is our dam keeper, and he is deeply concerned about the activities that's taking place on the dam. And this was another topic of conversation at the market with the police officer and Kathy Carey and myself. That Kathy, who had been going down there to swim, was reporting, just large numbers of people, smaller children jumping in, the water there unattended, and there
are signs there, right?
Well,
there are signs there.
Yeah.
There are signs but it does not restrict swimming. Is that right, April?
No, that's right. Everything's at your own risk. I was there this morning and I swam off the dam.
So I guess I hope you did it with a mask on. No, I'm sorry.
I had goggles. I had goggles. Is that okay?
Yeah. But did you have one of those buoys attached to you?
No, I saw them. There were 3 people. They looked like a strange little fleet.
Yeah.
But I have a red bathing cap.
Okay.
And I stay close to shore.
Okay, good.
And you don't need a mask in water. I'm just saying, you do not.
It would be restricting.
So can I ask, the issues there are safety issues, or what's
safety.
Is it the parking, people parking there? But it's just the safety that boats could be in danger because there's nothing to stop.
There's a whirlpool right on the other side of the dam that can suck people in.
It's strong,
and pull them down to the grate. And
there's markers around that.
Yeah.
But it's not a good place for little kids to swim. It gets deep very quickly.
Okay.
Rita, it's an ongoing thing. In emergency management meetings, people were taking the rocks and they were throwing the rocks.
That's right.
We had to put a sign, no throwing rocks. And so it's just an ongoing topic that pops up every now and then.
And so we have liability because we own the dam, right?
Right.
It's town property.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so Donna McNichol happened to stop by the market to get trash bags 2 weeks ago, and she joined the conversation, and she suggested that we do put up signage that says no swimming in that area, because you don't want to close it completely to the public because there are a lot of people who fish there.
Yeah.
I guess some people do want it closed to the public. I think Howie does, but a halfway point to get to would be to say no swimming.
After 9 in the morning.
After April's done.
Yeah, right, after April's done.
So I think this is where we've stopped before. We've cut off the conversation. We haven't taken the select board has not moved to ban swimming from the dam in the past. So I guess it would be a good idea for you guys to think about it and maybe talk to Howie and see if you're inclined at all to change your position at this point.
Yeah, I see it as a tremendous risk to the town, and I indulge myself by swimming off the dam. So I'm sort of in a strange position. I mean, I clearly am taking a risk when I do that.
Yeah, but you're also an adult, April.
Somewhat, and I swim. Okay. I'm a good swimmer.
Right.
And I think so I'm really of two minds. I think the really adult thing would be to not allow swimming at the dam. And there would be a huge backlash from the swimmers on the dam, you know, that within our community, not people coming outside of our community.
I hate to say it, but we're going to be damned if we do and damned if we don't.
Nice one.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe, and I don't mind reaching out to Howie just to see what he's been observing in a little more detail, you know, just to, and maybe have it on our next meeting again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, does it say
Yeah, and
now, does it say now swim at your own risk? Is that, I'm not sure if
At
that's,
your own risk.
I think that's what it is.
and where is that posted?
I think they're on the building and there's
Yeah.
you go in, I think. It's been a while since I've been down
I
there.
think it's written on the concrete, you know, that people stand on near the little building.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's a sign on the building. And then there's a sign that that was below the dam and the rocks between the dam and the culvert. And that sign was moved back after complaints about it obstructing people's view. But
There could be another sign of some sort put on the path that people walk down to, you know, swim at your own risk. But I don't know if that covers liability, because it would be
Probably not.
so tragic.
But you're right, probably doesn't. But maybe if you worded it, swim at your own risk, strongly discouraged. I don't know. I don't know if there's there's probably no way to 100% secure our liability from any of this.
No.
No.
The other thing is that
Without just closing it off entirely, without gating it and
Right.
locking it, and
but then you'd have to guard it from the water side, because people can get there through the water.
If you block one avenue, they're going to find another.
And people who really want to swim can go down to the lake at 7 in the morning and swim, and there's no lifeguard. I mean, that's another. Don't tell anybody having this conversation. No, but it is. It's. I've driven by and it's, you know, there are big parties happening and they look like so much fun, and they are, I'm sure, but it's dangerous. And I think it's taking some of the overflow from the beach. People come up and the beach is closed to them.
Well, they find the next best place, which is the dam.
Exactly. Then people are not finding the boat launches easily. That's not as
Not well marked.
That's
well,
right.
the DCR was sending people to the boat launch.
Wow.
About 3 weeks ago, and we asked them to stop doing that.
Yeah, because we have no sanitary facilities there.
Right, and it was
Wow.
overflowing with cars, and there was no parking, and people couldn't launch boats. So we've asked them not to do that.
Tully Lake is nice.
It's very nice. I've been there.
Yeah, but I think this is sort of that tension in the town. We have this beautiful little state park that draws people. You know, it's like it's lovely that we can share it with the larger community, and that part feels really wonderful. And it's being really stressed out, I think, just by the volume.
well, little is the operative word here.
Exactly.
It's a little state park.
It's
Right.
just a
And it's easily found by Googling now, where before it wasn't.
Oh,
You know, you
should go
really Google to find it.
right.
You can Google it. So
Right.
it's more accessible to a larger group or larger surrounding area than it had been.
Yep.
And they're going to start charging money, so that it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I hope they give a heads up to people, but probably not. People, you know, people will just show up. If they can, you know, maybe start putting signs up saying will be happening on this date.
Did they say how much they'd be charging, Becky?
It's 10. It's not ridiculous.
Car.
Yeah, seniors we get free.
Not Melissa.
No,
No,
she's our
not for
Rest of us.
she's our junior senior.
Juniors.
Damned if we do, damned
If we don't, it fits. Yeah, I'll reach out to Howie and just see what he's observing, and maybe that informs our decision one way or another. You know.
Yeah, and let me talk to Dan about it too, because
Yeah.
I'm sure they're getting calls. And I may have to move out of town.
Okay.
No, I will also start
Always
talking to people.
abstain from voting if you were worried about that. You know,
That's true.
if we have to vote.
I think we should.
Okay, so I'll put that on the next agenda as well.
Please do that.
More information
Yep.
coming in. Damn. Swimming and signage. Okay, so my thought is, Melissa, we're going to be joining the Finance Committee at 7:15.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if Linda could get a break before that.
Oh, definitely. Linda, would you like a break? And I think Rita probably could put her phone down. Her phone.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Have you
I might
tried
have to
putting it on?
recharge it.
Have you tried putting on speaker to see if it works okay for you? So you don't have to hold it.
Well, the problem is I'm at my grandson's house, so there's a lot of background noise here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
So it's probably easier. But you know what? I thought I could try again where it said, and Michael's not here now, select a microphone. So
Do you see all
I'm gonna
those
try
options?
something.
yeah, you could run
Yeah,
the
I see the
test.
options. So, I test speaker and microphone.
Yeah, try
Do you
that.
hear a ringtone? Okay, I don't hear a
Turn your
ringtone.
volume up.
Mute your speaker, increase volume.
Oh, yeah. Go
Yes.
ahead, Linda. Take a break.
5 minutes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You can
10
even take
minutes.
10. 10.
Join
Oh, 8 minutes.
audio.
9 minutes.
Okay, unless unmute.
And when Linda comes
Okay.
back, I'm gonna just want to quickly give an overview about the email I sent out right before the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you see it, Rita? Did you hear a tone back from your test?
No,
No. Did you turn your speaker
I
back?
didn't.
You turned it down because it was feedback.
Yeah. Let me turn it down.
I'm leaving the meeting now. I just want to say goodbye, and I love the energy. It's so fun to see you women work. So
Thank you,
until
Susan.
next time.
Thank you. Thank you so
Susan.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Susan.
Bye.
We're damned
Bye,
if we do,
Susan.
damned if we don't.
I'm never
I
gonna
think
live
that's
that
our new
down. I
phrase.
just couldn't help myself.
That's brilliant.
I've been saving it all night. Whoa.
I think you should ask your 3-year-old grandson how to do it.
Oh, can we have him play with us?
Yeah.
Are you getting help, Rita?
Am I getting help?
Yeah.
Hold on.
This
Am I getting help doing what?
Getting the sound working. I mean, getting your online.
No, I mean, I can ask my son. Are we taking a break?
Mhm.
yeah, we're taking a break.
We
So
are? Okay.
you can all
All right.
plug it in
Let me
here.
see. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to see if I can get some
Okay,
help.
go ahead. Go ahead.
And a sweet one. And a very sweet boy.
See you Thursday. I managed to lose my glasses. Rita, are you fully there?
I did hear noise. One.
Rita? Yeah. Are you there? Yeah.
I'm here on my phone.
Oh, on your phone.
Should I try to sign in again?
You know what? Before you do, Rita?
Yes. Yes.
I double check. So we have to go to the FinCom meeting. It's at the other address.
Oh.
At a different address. I didn't just have them join us on this
Oh,
one.
okay. Okay, so I'm just going to go to their meetings in the calendar and then sign into their meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do that now or?
Why don't you wait a couple minutes so I can make sure everybody knows that, or you could do it now, then you can have more time to fiddle with your computer.
Okay, great, thanks. Maybe it will work.
Wait. Linda is saying something.
Yeah. I was wondering if we could do the minutes quick, so
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
we don't have to come back somehow.
Yes.
That would be great.
So I move we approve the minutes from, I haven't got it, June 7th, is it?
7/7.
7/7/2020. Nice, good
Yes.
numbers.
All right.
I second.
Okay. Any corrections or edits? No. All in favor?
No. Farrell, aye.
Stein, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye.
Thank you for those minutes as always, Linda.
Yes.
Yes.
You are amazing.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'll sign off. Maybe it will work.
Can you hold up one second?
Okay.
I just want to be sure the one issue to do with the financing, that I got clarification from Donna McNichol that the decision of whether to where the $312,000 grant goes, if it is applied to the construction project, if it goes to the town, is a decision to be made by the select board. And it's a fundamental decision as to what balance is left of the debt to be borrowed. So it's one that has to be made pretty quickly. So I just wanted you guys to be clear on that. I sent you a copy of the amendment to the contract with the state regarding that grant, and a copy of the grant that Melissa signed back in April. when we receive those funds. So I just wanted to be sure that you guys were clear on that. And if you have any questions about it.
So it can either be applied to the 700,000 plus or minus debt.
Yep.
Or it would go into the general fund.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Becky, I guess my question is, in the proposed operating budget, including debt service for the MLP for the next, for the next 5 years or whatever, were they assuming that there was, how much debt were they assuming in that second loan? So we have the first loan of what, 900,000 or whatever, and then I assume that they were carrying debt service payments in the operating budget for the second.
It's
loan.
short of the full amount.
Okay.
Current budget. For this year, the debt that they are required to pay is about 105,000 on the $883,000 that's been borrowed. There's a $15,000 interest payment due on the note that comes up on August 21st for about $790,000. And the question is, so the $15,000 is all that's required now. If it's term, then it would either be apply payments to it or renew the ban in total for another year, or and the final balance of what they have in their budget is a $25,000 pay down towards the balance of their note. So they have
I saw all of that. I guess I'm not sure if I'm expressing this properly. So go at some point, all of the debt, all of the money that's being borrowed by the MLP, the debt service will show up in their operating budget. And right now, I assume the debt service that's showing up is the first big loan, the 900,000. The second loan that will be, they've allowed for that in their operating budget, and how much did they allow for? What were they projecting? They
were projecting only what was required, which was an interest payment on the ban and the debt required on the 883,000 and the pay down of the 25. They did not fully fund a payment for the full amount of debt if they went out to borrow the full amount, because they have been looking at it as something that they want to pay down as significantly as possible. They have $205,000 to pay down on it.
Right. But they're operating with a big surplus right now, right? At every year, they're operating with like $100,000 surplus, so they could support more debt.
They could support more debt, or they can use the same retained earnings once they're certified by DOR to pay down debt. So they could,
Right. Okay. Okay, I'm going to leave, and hopefully the next meeting I'll be participating without my phone.
Okay, great.
Good luck, Rita.
Thanks. Okay. All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye. See you all shortly.
What's the number? How do I get onto this?
It's on the agenda here.
Oh, okay. Let me
get the Finance Committee agenda. If you go to the calendar, on the website.
Okay.
And look at the Finance Committee and go to their agenda.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
Les, did you hear that? The Finance Committee is on a different Zoom number. So we're all clicking out of here and going into the Finance Committee meeting to join them.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Ciao.
Ciao.
I know. We'll all be in different places. Where is it? Finance Committee.
Gail, I walked down the hall and lost my glasses. They were on the water cooler. Oh, okay. Right next to it. Oh. Thank you, Gail. Yeah. Okay.